So, Beverly Hills was interesting. I went to the Beverly Hills Trump rally on Halloween, and it was just a good time. A lot of good energy, people all charged up. Comments on progressive videos, they're saying, look how overwhelmingly white it was, even though there were tons of Mexicans there. And I mean a lot. Like, there were trucks going by everywhere, waving Mexican flags, with the Trump flag next to it and the American flag next to it. It sucks because I was driving by in the caravan where it got all jammed up because I got stuck in the middle of it. And this big truck filled with Mexican people, waving the Mexican flag, the American flag, with a Trump banner hung on the side. And there's a white girl going by in her SUV who was flipping them off and yelling, "Fuck you," at the truck full of Mexicans. Much progressive. But there were Mexican and Israeli flags everywhere. Even a couple Japanese flags. I was surprised to see that. There was even alphabet for Trump, which was kind of weird because they had this little show that was like straight out of a pride parade, which I was like, this is weird. I'll show it if I had my phone on while recording it. I think I did. Anyway, don't get me wrong, there were bad parts. Usually with the talks and a lot of the signs from conservatives being kind of tone deaf, because the right, a massive criticism I've had for years is they're terrible at messaging. But look at this. Hundreds of Trump supporters rally in Beverly Hills ahead of Election Day. No, it was thousands. It was well into the thousands. Especially if you include the caravans where people didn't get out, but they were just circling with the flags. Okay, well, here's something they missed in this article. They said there were media reports that counter-protesters would show up in force at this week's rally, but that did not appear to be the case. Police in riot gear stood, and employees guarded storefronts along Rodeo Drive, but the crowd remained mostly peaceful. So, I saw the video of this. Apparently, this was about like an hour to like 45 minutes before I got there, but the fight did break out between like one Trump supporter and like, it was like 8 or 9 Antifa guys. But to my knowledge there, that was the only incident. I heard things got a little riled up later in the night after I left. I left about 6 o'clock. If anyone can find videos of what happened after that point, totally send that shit to me. Now here's where I had some big criticisms for the rally. So, Michael Smith, a 30-year-old Los Angeles resident and supporter of Democratic nominee Joe Biden, stood in the middle of the intersection of Beverly Hills and Rodeo, holding a Black Lives Matter sign and surrounded by Trump supporters. He says, "I'm willing to have this discussion." Smith told the group who shouted over him, "People misinterpret what Black Lives Matter means, and that's why I'm here." No one made physical contact with him, but several people expressed their anger towards him. Now, yes, when it comes to Black Lives Matter, the right is extremely tone deaf. You have the ones that scream, "It's a terrorist group. Trump, declare it a terrorist group," which would be political suicide for the Republicans, by the way. Terrible idea. Do not do that. But yeah, I saw this. Destiny was there. As I was doing my last lap around, I saw him, and there were a group of Trump supporters shouting him down. And I saw Lucas said someone threw water at him. I saw that point in the live stream. I was there like after that point, but I saw people heckling Destiny, and me and like 3 other people tried telling the Trump supporters to just shut up and let him speak. Just leave him alone. That's why I can believe the story. There were a couple other people where I saw that the right was just shouting down some people or just chanting them down. This was one of my big criticisms on why I said in an earlier video, the right has basically, in a lot of ways, become the 2016 left. A tourist walking by, she says, "I didn't realize there were so many Trump supporters in California. I'm not political, but I saw his sign and people calling him a terrorist for caring about black lives." See, that's the problem. A person who's not political saw him yelling at this guy carrying a Black Lives Matter flag who might not be very familiar with the movement, but they see that. And then they tell their friends that. And this is what I mean. You guys got to care about messaging, especially when I saw so many signs saying Biden's laptop matters. That was so cringe. That is just terrible messaging. If you got your problems with Black Lives Matter, the group, specify the group away from the phrase. Or even the movement that's not part of the group. Because if you don't specify these things, it comes off as really, really bad. And if you want an example of Republicans failing at messaging, look at Lindsey Graham recently trying to appeal to the black community, where it's like, I understood what he was saying, but you can't help but go, people are going to spin that. Or that just sounds really bad. Same with the Jared Kushner thing. That was terrible, and the right defended him, and I'm like, that makes you look bad. You want to win over undecided or Democrat black people, and that's a terrible way to do it. This is why you see Latinos for Trump, blacks for Trump, Asians for Trump. There ain't no blacks for Lindsey Graham. There ain't no blacks for Mitch McConnell movement. Think about that. No, think about that. There's a reason. There's a good reason for that. So it goes on. Trump is deeply unpopular in California, particularly Los Angeles' affluent West Side. Numerous protests have slammed the president's divisive policies, ranging from attacks on immigrants. Very interesting, because there was a lot of Mexicans there. So I don't think so. I would argue I'd argue like 35 to 40% Mexican. Rollbacks of environmental safeguard and his personal conduct and statements critics say are racist. They say everything he says is racist. I really doubt all the people there don't believe the media, considering how many minorities and women were there. So last Saturday's rally, I wasn't there. They had between 2,500 and 3,000, according to a Beverly Hills spokesman. Signs and shirts announced a kaleidoscope of identities in support of Trump, including members of the Latino, Jewish, Vietnamese, and LGBTQ communities. I'm just gonna say alphabet people. I'm sorry, I gotta steal that. I gotta borrow that. Yeah, definitely the mini alphabet parade was pretty bizarre for a conservative rally, but you know, it's California, so what are you gonna do? So there was 2 Los Angeles Times articles in the same day. The coverage on Beverly Hills hailing from around the corner or halfway across the world. Their reasons for supporting Trump range from his stance on Israel to his policies on gun rights and abortion. Yeah, his policies on gun rights have been absolute trash. At this unlikely spot, in front of the iconic letters spelling out the city's name, Trump fans gather every Saturday for their Make America Great Again hats are a rare sight in the city, synonymous with glittering wealth. Well, they're a rare sight because people don't want to get their windows smashed. I'm on the west side. You mostly see old Bernie stickers here. Otherwise, you don't see much. If you go near Rancho Park in the gigantic wealthy neighborhood back there with the huge houses, that's the only place I've seen quite a few Biden-Harris signs. Let me tell you, I go down to the hood sometimes because I gotta get Popeyes. Because apparently Popeyes don't think the non-black neighborhoods need their chicken. You're stupid, you're losing money. But even in those areas, I see no political signs whatsoever. So, for local Trump supporters feeling alienated from family and friends, a weekly event known as USA Freedom Rally is a chance to commune with like-minded people amid a festive atmosphere of chanting and dancing. In recent weeks, thousands have attended. Now, it was definitely a festive atmosphere because basically, if you want to go to a Joe rally, it's essentially like one woman sleeping on a bench with a Biden flag. Although it also had the same problems the right tends to have, like using words they don't know, doing things like calling Biden a socialist or calling Biden a communist, which is asinine because he's not, because that's become the right's version of Nazi, basically. And then you had speakers doing the generic right-wing talking points. You had Rubin was there, and Prager, he was there. Although I didn't stay to listen to him speak because, I don't really like him that much. I mean, they're cool, but their content's not my thing. Going on. Tyler Johnson, 48, said it felt good to be among fellow conservatives on the grassy strip along Santa Monica Boulevard, where the 40-foot-wide Beverly Hills sign had been a long tourist attraction. Living in the Palms neighborhood of West Los Angeles, hey, me too. I definitely feel like a minority. We live in the same neighborhood, buddy, yeah. There are definitely quite a few Trump supporters here, just they won't say it. They just shut up and keep their head down, because like I said, they don't want to get their windows smashed. I don't know what part on Palms you're in. I don't know if you're on the white Asian side, or if you go down past the school, that's like all Latino. I don't know what side of that area he's on, so it might matter depending on what side you're on. They're jumping ahead, because a lot of them was copy-paste, which is like, good job, LA Times, way to be lazy. Occasional chance of 4 more years and Biden's laptop matters broke out. I'm advising you, conservatives, stop mocking BLM. I don't care whether you like it or you don't like it. I'm warning because it looks really bad to the people you need to win over. I'll say it again, you guys need to start specifying the group and not use it as a general term. And mask wearers were on the minority. Yeah, definitely. I was one of them. It was actually pretty warm, so I'll wear the mask, just indoors and on private property. As the crowd marched down Beverly Drive through the city's glitzy shopping districts, onlookers whipped out camera phones. Some drivers honked in support. Some, like all of them did. You know what sucks? I got a Betsy Ross flag because that's the best design of the three. I hate sudden loud noises. Like, I really hate them. And I understand people are like honking like, yay! And I'm just...
Just in case.
It's not gonna catch on fire. You want to go right? Which way are we going?
Rodeo. It's Rodeo, and then it's like one thing up from the road.
Alright. Careful.
I looked it up.
It took me a long time to adjust to all the honking. Because usually when you get honked at in LA, it's usually someone about to curse you out for, like, not running a red light or turning into traffic fast enough and killing yourself. People even honked at me because they like the Betsy Ross flag because that is the best of the three designs. Except for two big black dudes pulled up to me to yell "fuck Trump," which was funny because I'm not even wearing any Trump gear. I had a Gadsden hat with a Betsy Ross flag, but I still just smiled and said, "Hey man, it's okay." They're just giving me pissy looks, but I'm just like, whatever nigga, okay. Anyway, that covers most of it. It was pretty fun, actually. It was a good atmosphere.